You have reached the voicemail box of
Bobby Burns.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My hair is now purple. So before I really get started, I wanted to take a second to explain why I've been away for the longest time period so far, and I'll probably break that record again at some point. I've just been working on a certain project that I really want to get done and really hope that I'll be able to get done. I'm not going to say much about it because I feel like I'm jinxing myself that way. But I wanted to make a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time, and that's a video kind of in defense of Bobby Burns. If you don't know who Bobby Burns is, he is now a musician, but he was a YouTuber. He kind of switched up his content. He made a lot of different stuff. His most popular videos were the video where he breaks down YouTuber apologies, and also the video he made about Shane Dawson. So a little bit of backstory. Bobby Burns, he's been on YouTube forever. He's made a lot of different kinds of content. He's done commentary, he's done vlogs and stop motion. He grew a pretty decent audience on his own with the commentary videos. He was very critical and very analytical, and people really liked that about him. And that's where a lot of his subscribers originally came into his channel. And then one day he made a video about Shane Dawson. And there is no way to talk about Bobby Burns without going into Shane Dawson. I really like to kind of stay away from the things that drama channels really like to talk about. I know there's kind of a fine line sometimes between drama and commentary, but I'm trying to stay away from the drama side of YouTube as much as possible. So I'm not going to go into talking about Shane Dawson too much, but got to talk about him a little bit to tell you what happened. He was very critical of Shane Dawson, and this was back in the day where everyone loved Shane Dawson. Anyone who's been on YouTube for a while knows that Shane Dawson fans can be a bit much. So he made this video about Shane Dawson, and it took off to the point where Shane Dawson actually watched the video.
Listen, I understand when people don't like my shit, but I don't think my is that terrible. I also think my videos take a lot of effort and a lot of time.
And Shane did this whole series where he flew Bobby out to LA confronting his hater. And essentially it ended up going well. Shane offered him a job, having weekly videos on his channel. But the problem was that Shane had kind of painted this picture that Bobby Burns is a hater, and conspiracies grew around that. And I feel like conspiracy theories are kind of a big part of what happened with Bobby Burns. There was the conspiracies that Bobby Burns was using Shane Dawson for views. There were conspiracies that Bobby Burns wanted to kill Shane Dawson. Just absolutely insane stuff. This is when Shane was a hugely beloved character on YouTube. People thought that Bobby was acting fake. I don't really buy into that. I think what happened is Bobby made a video about Shane Dawson's current content, which this was back in the yellow thumbnail days, heading into conspiracy days of Shane's videos. It was
terrible
content. And so Bobby called out that you make terrible content, and then said, you used to make good content, what happened? So Shane moved Bobby out to LA, and Bobby started working for Shane.
So I forgot to bring this up, but Shane actually ended up buying Bobby a car. This may just seem like a really weird random detail, but it's relevant later on.
So Bobby had already had a decent sized audience from the content that he was making, And now he has more of an audience who expects him to make content more like Shane Dawson makes. Basically, his subscriber base is split down the middle. If he makes his old content, the Shane fans are going to hate him even more than normal. If he makes the new content that he's been making, his old fans are going to hate him. So there was no real winning for him at this point. He was getting awful comments. And this is something I want to point out, and this applies to both Bobby and Shane. If you put yourself out as a public person, especially if you're making videos about other people, you have to be willing to accept some criticism. People often confuse criticism with hate. If someone criticizes someone, they're painted as a hater. And just because you criticize someone doesn't mean that you're a hater. Bobby's video criticizing Shane Dawson brought up a lot of valid points, a lot of valid criticisms against Shane, but he was labeled as a hater because he was saying negative things about Shane Dawson, and Shane Dawson's fan base is insane. But what I just said also applies to Bobby. I've seen videos with valid criticism against Bobby, but I've also seen videos that are just straight up hate. At one point, they kind of realized that the show wasn't going to work out, and Bobby essentially had to move back to Tennessee. There was a ridiculous amount of hate towards Bobby, which Shane Dawson never addressed and never did anything about. So Shane essentially finally came out and said that there was no hard feelings, nothing bad happened. They just decided the show wasn't going to work out, which is fine. At least he addressed some of the conspiracy theories going around. But because he was no longer working for Shane, and because he was moving back to his home state, there were a lot of rumors that he was on drugs, and Bobby's content changed, which is something he did a lot. I said earlier he had made like every kind of content available. He like splits himself into different versions. There's Bobby Burns 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and they're all different things. And so I believe 5.0 was more of like a vlogging style. His old fans didn't like it because it was a huge change from what they were used to. And the followers he got from Shane didn't like it because it's Bobby Burns. And Shane good, Bobby bad. So there was no winning, because his claim to fame at this point was being Shane Dawson's hater. There was no winning. If he makes his old content, everyone hates him. If he makes new content, everyone hates him. So he got to a point where he wasn't really doing anything. He kind of just put himself in a hole and stopped existing online. Until Nasty Boy. So you're all caught up on the TLDR, what happened. So I'm going to get into the more opinionated bits. Bobby, who was always like a very theatrical person, he was always a very good video producer. And to be quite honest, he is one of the people that really like inspired me to start finally doing YouTube, to start learning video editing. And he actually did a lot to help progress the commentary community on YouTube to what it is now. Now that I'm done fangirling over Bobby Burns, at a certain point he realized that no matter what he does, everyone's going to hate him. Everyone's going to have negative things to say about him. So he made the biggest power move that I think I've ever seen. If you kind of cherry pick through his old videos, you'll see and hear that he was talking about he wants to do music. There was a comment that his brother made about how he's a pretty good rapper. So he announces Nasty Boy, which is this persona for his music. And the announcement for it was pretty incredible, I thought. It was this very theatrical announcement where he literally buries the old Bobby, and then it's like this new persona just completely takes over. And the reviews, I want to tell you, were mixed, but they were not. They were not well received. Everyone hated it. And it's just because it was weird. It was very strange. It's not what was expected. When I saw it, I was very happy for him because he's finally at a place where he can just do what he wants. He's taking his channel back, basically. A lot of YouTubers are like put into this box where they can't break out of it and they have to keep making this specific kind of content. Especially YouTubers who came up from other YouTubers. And so this was essentially a clean palette. He lost a lot of subscribers because his old fan base was shocked and his new fan base was shocked. But he was doing what he wanted to do. I forgot to bring this up also, but it feeds into my next point. The car that he got from Shane, he got into a wreck. And people automatically jumped on, "You're on drugs. You're doing way worse stuff than weed." And especially with his announcement about Nasty Boy, the general consensus was that he's on drugs, he's going through a manic episode, he's insane, he's lost it, he's crazy ever since he stopped working with Shane. Shane Dawson ruined him. And that's something that I've seen a lot in commentary videos about him or drama videos about him, is saying that Bobby Burns ruined his career or Shane Dawson ruined Bobby Burns' career. And that's also kind of infuriating. I wouldn't necessarily argue that his career is ruined. He's still working, he's still doing things. If anything killed his career, it wasn't Shane Dawson, it was his fans. Now that it's cool to hate Shane Dawson, I'm seeing a lot of people taking back the stuff that they said about Bobby Burns. But the fact is, you can't take back how he was treated. The Shane Dawson fans who went in on Bobby Burns to the point where he did have a huge depressive episode that he's talked about, you can't take that back. You can't take back the horrible things that you did to another human being. It was cool to love Shane Dawson, and now it's cool to hate Shane Dawson. And don't get me wrong, I'm definitely on the side of hating Shane Dawson, but he's one of the YouTubers where his followers for a long time have just been mindless zombies who will stand up for Shane no matter what he did. And they will attack anyone who dares say the slightest criticism of Shane. So nowadays, he's just coming out with music. Music's weird. Like, I really like the aesthetic that he's going for with the music. It's mostly not my type of music, but he's got a few bangers. I've also seen some backlash about the fact that he has an OnlyFans.
So on the day that I was originally going to release this video, Bobby Burns released a video on his YouTube channel, and it was the first video in like over 6 months that wasn't either music or like an ad for something, and it was about his experience on OnlyFans, and I just feel like this says what I was saying better because it's coming from his own words. But he's essentially talking about why he likes being on OnlyFans so much and saying that he feels much more confident and comfortable with himself and that it's been nothing but a positive thing for him.
When everyone was hating him because he was oh so mean to Shane Dawson, someone leaked his nudes. And now those same people are mad that he's making money from being nude. Wildly hypocritical. Here's this naked stranger. How dare them make money from being naked? As someone who's followed Bobby Burns for a long time and who has been a fan of Bobby through all of his phases, it's been really interesting to see how the commentary videos about Bobby Burns have changed from starting off extremely negative, horrible, spreading rumors that he's on drugs, to now, because Shane Dawson is canceled, saying really nice things about Bobby Burns. And I think that says a lot about this weird cult-like mentality that social media has created. Anyways, guys, thank you for letting me complain about the things that happened to Bobby Burns. That's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you super enjoyed it, you can definitely subscribe to me. You're not subscribed. I know you're not. You should subscribe or I'll die. Okay, bye!